Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, your one stop for the day's top stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeks greater cohesion in international response to disasters, outlines 10-point agenda to renew efforts to reduce disaster risk. GST Council finalizes a 4-tier structure with tax slabs of 5, 12, 18 and 28%, zero tax rate to apply to 50% of the items in the Consumer Price Index basket. Last rites of ex-serviceman Ram Kishan Grewal is held in Bhiwani in Haryana. Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal announces 1 crore rupees compensation to the family, while opposition leaders criticize the government over the OROP issue. Warring members of the Samajwadi Party family share the stage in Uttar Pradesh. Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav starts his Vikas Rath Yatra to highlight the government's achievements. And in his first recording in almost a year, Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi issues a rallying cry against Iraqi forces advancing on Mosul, calls on Iraqis to defend the city against the army. The top story, a 4-tier GST tax structure of 5, 12, 18 and 28% with lower rates of essential items and the highest for luxury and demerit goods was decided by the GST Council today. With a view to keep inflation under check, essential items including food, which presently constitute, in fact, roughly half of the consumer inflation basket, will be taxed at zero rate. Here are more details.
The GST Council decided a 4-tier rate structure. Food grains have been kept in zero tax category, while 5% tax has been fixed for mass consumption items. A higher tax rate of 28% has been fixed for luxury cars, pan masala and aerated drinks and tobacco. The Secretaries Committee is expected to decide a slab-wise inclusion of different goods. Taxation on gold will be decided upon the revenue flexibility.
And it was decided that food grain used by common people would be in this category. So that would be zero rated so that its impact in terms of inflationary pressure on common people is the least.
The government expressed confidence that the standard rates of 12% and 18% will keep inflation in check. The government is also confident of meeting the GST rollout deadline of 1st April 2017.
In demerit goods या luxury products पे levy कम हो वो नहीं होगा. जितना existing amount है उतना होगा. वो extra जो देते हैं 28 से ऊपर वो सेस के रूप में देंगे, उसमें से कॉम्पेंसेशन फंड कर देंगे ताकि टैक्स पेयर के ऊपर कोई एडिशनल कॉम्पेंसेशन का बर्डन ना आए.
The Finance Minister said the centre is required to pay 50,000 crore rupees as compensation to the states in the first year of GST. The Council will decide on flexibility of the compensation pool after 5 years. The central GST and integrated GST legislations will also be introduced in the winter session of Parliament that begins 16th of November. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi was detained once again today by the Delhi police for leading a protest march against the detention of family members of former serviceman Ram Kishan Grewal. He was taken away from the protest site to the Parliament Street police station first and then moved to the Tughlaq Road police station. Grewal committed suicide on Tuesday for not being adequately compensated under the one rank, one pension scheme. He was cremated earlier today in Bhiwani in Haryana. Leaders from various political parties attended the last rites of the soldier. They criticized the government for not implementing OROP properly. Well, for more on this story, we're now joined by our correspondent Vishal Daya, in fact, joining us on the phone line. Vishal, can you give us some more updates on what exactly is happening at the moment? What exactly are the charges this time? Is it again to do with law and order situation on the reason why Rahul Gandhi is being detained?
Well, Tracy, as we speak, Rahul Gandhi is still being detained inside Tughlaq Road police station along with some other Congress leaders such as Jyotirjit Scindia, Dipendra Hooda, and a few more. And there are Congress workers, shouting slogans and sitting on protest outside the Tughlaq Road police station. Other senior leaders are also outside the police station out here. The detention is being done by Delhi police, just like yesterday. Rahul Gandhi was detained twice to try and dissipate the protesting, workers, political party workers. And this is a modus operandi which is being used time and again by the police force to try and maintain law and order, to ensure that not more than a particular number of people gather at a particular place. So in fact, Rahul Gandhi, just like yesterday, was first taken to Parliament Street Police Station, then he was brought to Tughlaq Road Police Station, he was taken to Firoz Shah Road, kept sitting in a vehicle for quite some time, almost half an hour. There was fierce slogan shouting out there. The police had to use mild force at Firoz Shah Road on Congress workers to ensure a smooth traffic movement and to ensure that Rahul Gandhi is brought back to Tughlaq Road Police Station. What we are being told by our sources is that it's just a matter of time. In some more time, Rahul Gandhi and other leaders and Congress workers will be allowed to go back home. But meanwhile, the entire protest scenario, which is a sort of a repeat of what happened yesterday evening, also in the central Delhi, is continuing out here.
All right. Thanks so much, Vishal, for joining us with those details. In fact, we're just getting a news flash from the news agency ANI saying that the Congress Vice President has been released by police after being in detention for almost 2 hours. So at least for the moment, let's hope that at least for tonight, things do calm down on the streets of Delhi for the moment. We'll keep an eye out on developments on that front. But like we pointed out earlier today, ex-serviceman Ramkishan Grewal, who committed suicide on Tuesday, the last rites, of course, took place today amid tight security. Here are more details on that.
Bamla, a small village 20 kilometers from Bhiwani district, became the center of the OROP controversy on Thursday. 70-year-old Ramkishan Grewal, an ex-serviceman who committed suicide on Tuesday in the national capital, was a former sarpanch of this village. His last rites were conducted amid tight security in the presence of several politicians, including Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal.
उनके गांव जा रहे हैं हम लोग रामकिशन जी का आज अंतिम संस्कार है तो उनके परिवार से वहां मिलके आएंगे कल तो यहां तो दिल्ली में तो इन लोगों ने मिलने नहीं दिया
and they've had a terrible evening yesterday and they're very disturbed with the way they were handled yesterday, with the kind of statements which are being made. They are not speaking about it on camera, but that took me, they're very upset. So as I said, it's a double grieving for them.
We are with the family and we are with the ex-servicemen, and we implore upon the government to pay heed to what the ex-servicemen and what the family is saying.
Other opposition parties also joined in criticizing the government on the OROP issue.
Understand what is the justification for stopping them from meeting the relatives of the deceased. If they are coming forward as an excuse that law and order problem, then it is their own failure. What is the law and order problem? You see, if in a public place, if some political leaders, representatives of the people, members of parliament, Rahul Gandhi, Ghulam Nabi Azad, Scindia, they are all members of parliament. You must have some respect for them. They represent people. Now, if they are prevented from entering public place, they are prevented from meeting aggrieved people, and you say that it is because of law and order.
The government, however, put up a strong defense, saying it had implemented OROP as promised, while previous governments had failed to do so. But Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar also conceded that there was some technical problem in the dispersal process, which will be sorted out soon.
अभी 1 लाख लोगों को इसका पूरा बेनिफिट मिलना बाकी है और उसमें थोड़ी टेक्निकल पेपर की डिफिकल्टी है, वो सब पूरी अगले 1-2 महीने में हम खत्म करेंगे.
वो कांग्रेस के वर्कर थे, कांग्रेस की टिकट पर सरपंच बने हुए थे, लेकिन हमारे सैनिक थे. उनके निधन पर दुख है. कोई भी अगर आत्महत्या करता है तो उसके ऊपर दुख होता है, लेकिन जो समस्याएं उनकी निकल कर आ रही हैं वो वन रैंक वन पेंशन से ताल्लुक नहीं रखती थी.
Meanwhile, Delhi and Haryana governments announced an ex gratia of 1 crore and 10 lakh rupees each for Grewal's family members. But that may not be the end of war of words between the government and the opposition on the OROP issue. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today urged the world community to work unitedly on disaster risk reduction. Inaugurating a 3-day Asian Ministerial Conference for Disaster Risk Reduction, he expressed India's readiness to work with other countries to build disaster-resilient infrastructure. Modi also set out a 10-point agenda for renovating the efforts towards it.
Ministers responsible for disaster risk reduction in 61 countries met in New Delhi for a 3-day Asian Ministerial Conference on disaster risk reduction. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled a 10-point disaster risk reduction plan that emphasizes more investment in risk mapping and a network of universities to work on disaster issues. Prime Minister also affirmed that India is ready to share its space technology and resources with any country to deal with disasters across the globe.
All development sector must imbibe the principles of disaster risk management. This will ensure that all development projects, airports, roads, canals, hospitals, bridges, are built to appropriate standards and contribute to the resilience of communities they seek to serve.
Pointing out that women are disproportionately affected by disasters, Prime Minister Modi underscored the need for greater involvement and leadership by them in disaster risk management. He said there's a need to train a large number of women volunteers to support special needs of women affected by disasters.
We need women engineers, masons, and building artisans supporting reconstruction, and women self-help groups assisting livelihood recovery.
The conference will adopt the Asian Regional Plan for implementation of the Sendai Framework endorsed by the Asian countries. Sendai Framework is the first major agreement of the post-2015 development agenda and identifies targets and priority action areas towards reducing disasters. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
President Pranab Mukherjee today met Nepalese Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda in Kathmandu. Bilateral issues were discussed during the talks. The president also urged Nepal to involve all stakeholders in the process of building democracy. He later visited the Pashupatinath temple.
On the second day of his 3-day Nepal visit, President Pranab Mukherjee met Nepalese Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda. Both leaders held wide-ranging talks on issues of mutual interest. India reiterated its commitment to rebuild 50,000 houses in Nepal.
Particularly, I think one sector which came up for some discussion in detail was housing, because we have a commitment from Indian side to support the reconstruction of 50,000 houses. So the fact that this government in Nepal has started that process, the payments have started to be made to beneficiaries, and the whole housing reconstruction has started, was viewed very positively.
President Mukherjee also underlined the need to involve every section of the Nepalese society as equal stakeholders in the process of building democracy. His statement was an apparent reference to the political unrest over a new constitution that strained India-Nepal ties.
The message was that the Indian experience showed that an inclusive constitution that carried all sections of the people, where all stakeholders felt that they had that their interests and views were factored in. This was an experience that we felt Nepal could perhaps look at, and we were very fully supportive of the constitutional process that the present government is pushing.
Following the bilateral meeting, the President performed a special puja at the Pashupatinath temple. On Friday, the President will visit the Janaki temple in Janakpur, an important city in the Madhesi region of Nepal. The visit to the region is symbolic of India's special ties with the plains of Nepal and will strengthen its commitment to Nepal's diverse polity. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The first family of the UP government involved in a bitter power tussle came together in Lucknow today to flag off Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav's Vikas Rath Yatra. While the election campaign bus witnessed technical snags after barely covering a kilometre, Akhilesh Yadav remained confident of doing well in the state polls.
Warring factions of the Samajwadi Party on Thursday came together to kick off the first phase of Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav's election campaign. The Vikas Rath Yatra, that will highlight achievements during the Samajwadi Party's tenure, was flagged off by Party Chief Mulayam Singh Yadav in the presence of State Party Chief Shivpal Yadav in Lucknow. The presence of Mulayam, Shivpal and Akhilesh on one platform comes just days after the bitter acrimony in the Yadav clan.
सेकुलर सरकार, गरीबों की सरकार, किसानों की सरकार, अभी समाजवादी पेंशन दी है, बड़ी संख्या में महिलाओं की मदद हुई है। आने वाले समय में कोई भी महिला नहीं छूटेगी जिसको समाजवादी पेंशन हम न दे पाए।
Akhilesh also clarified that he was not aware of any coalition moves ahead of the UP polls. He said a final decision on a likely alliance will be taken by Mulayam Singh. Speculations about a grand alliance in the state gained ground after Congress election strategist Prashant Kishore recently met Mulayam Singh Yadav in Delhi.
मैं समझता हूँ नेताजी तय करेंगे कि गठबंधन किस रूप से बनेगा और जब गठबंधन होगा कौन पाएगा कौन खोएगा ये नेताजी आकलन करेंगे। अभी इस पे कह पाना मुश्किल है। नेताजी तय करेंगे कि क्या होना आने वाले समय में।
Responding to questions about the prospects of an alliance, Shivpal Yadav said the party's Silver Jubilee celebration on Saturday will be attended by former Prime Minister H.D. Devagowda, RJD Chief Lalu Prasad, RLD Chief Ajit Singh, among others.
हमारी पूरी व्यवस्था हो चुकी है इस कार्यक्रम की और यहीं से संदेश जाएगा और पूरे देश में जो भी सेकुलर लोग हैं किसी भी कीमत में हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार उत्तर प्रदेश में नहीं बनने देंगे।
While Akhilesh is slated to travel 75 kilometers in Lucknow and Unnao in the first phase of the campaign, his Mercedes Rath developed a snag barely 1 kilometer into the Yatra. Akhilesh is now expected to restart his Rath Yatra again on Monday after the Samajwadi Party's Silver Jubilee celebration. With Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Inputs, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news, Food and Public Distribution Minister Ramvilas Paswan on Thursday informed that over 80 crore people are covered under the National Food Security Law across 36 states and union territories. He maintained that the law has been implemented across India from November with an annual subsidy of 1.4 lakh crore rupees. Paswan also disclosed that with Kerala and Tamil Nadu coming on board this month, the government has now covered the entire nation. Under the law, the government provides 5 kilograms of highly subsidized food grains per person per month at 1 to 3 rupees per kilogram. The ultra-cheap food welfare program will cover 50% of urban and 75% of rural areas across India. Parliament passed the food law in 2013.
आज हमें इस बात को बताते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि सभी 36 राज्यों में 1 नवंबर से खाद्य सुरक्षा कानून जो है लागू कर दिया गया है। पहले भी मतलब सिर्फ 2 राज्य बचे थे, तमिलनाडु और केरला, लेकिन हम लोगों ने उसमें थोड़ा हार्ड निर्णय लिया था और हमने कहा था कि यदि 1 नवंबर से फूड सिक्योरिटी एक्ट लागू नहीं होगा तो फिर हम बीपीएल को तो नहीं टच करेंगे, अंत्योदय को भी नहीं टच करेंगे, लेकिन जो एपीएल का जो प्राइस है उसको जो है हम बीपीएल हटा के जो एमएसपी का रेट है, एमएसपी के प्राइस के आधार पर हम देंगे।
Hindi news channel NDTV India was today ordered by the government to be taken off air for a day. The order will be effective post-midnight on the 9th of November till after midnight on the 10th of November. An interministerial panel constituted by the INB Ministry recommended the action over the channel's coverage of the Pathankot terror attack in January this year. It concluded that crucial and strategically sensitive information was revealed about the Indian Air Force base while the operation was still being carried out. The panel said that the channel appeared to give out the exact location of the remaining terrorists with regard to the sensitive assets in their vicinity in their telecasts during real time. This is the first time ever such order against the TV channel after norms regarding coverage of a terror attack were notified last year. In its reply to a show cause notice in January this year, the channel reportedly stated that it was a case of subjective interpretation and that most of the information they put out was already out in public domain, either in print, electronic or social media. Now, with pollution levels still high in New Delhi, Union Environment Minister Anil Madhav Dave on Thursday said that his ministry will soon issue an advisory to the states concerned on tackling air pollution. Dave said that he has already asked his ministry to hold a secretarial meeting of the NCR states on Friday, following which he will hold meetings with all the state environment ministers and issue an advisory. The environment minister said that Diwali aggravated an already existing problem and that stricter rules need to be enforced to tackle air pollution. Delhi has been engulfed in a thick cover of pollutant-laden smog for the past few days, forcing residents to inhale severe quality air.
कल मैंने अपने सेक्रेटरी को कहा है तो सेक्रेटरी साहब कल सारे स्टेट सेक्रेटरीज की बैठक करेंगे आजू बाजू के राज्यों की। उसके बाद में मैं सारे मंत्रियों के साथ बैठ करके बात करूं और फिर हम एक सुझाव, एक एडवाइजरी, एक रोड मैप सबके सामने रखेंगे।
With a quick break here, we'll be back with the international news in a bit.
Cassava is planted at a spacing of 90 centimeter apart. This mini-set material that we developed, we have given a smaller spacing or a closer spacing. Small-scale farmer who doesn't have a large acreage. This is an ideal way of cultivation, and most of the technologies that we developed is actually benefiting them.
Watch Eureka with Dr. James George, Director, ICAR Central Tuber Crops Research Institute, Thiruvananthapuram, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. International news now. And as the battle for Mosul rages on, Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi expressed confidence in victory in his first message after the Iraqi forces started an offensive to take back Mosul. Baghdadi, whose death rumors have circulated around for years, urged people to fight against the advancing army. He also asked IS fighters to invade Turkey. Meanwhile, coalition forces continue to advance towards the city from several fronts.
As Iraqi forces push for victory in Mosul, the Islamic State released an audio tape claiming to be that of its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The authenticity of the recording has not been verified yet, but the voice on the audio expressed confidence in victory and called on Iraqis to defend the city against the army.
والحرب الشاملة والجهاد الكبير الذي تخوضه دولة الإسلام اليوم ما تزيدنا إن شاء الله إلا إيمانا ثابتا.
If true, it will be the first public message from Baghdadi in about a year and will dispel rumors of his death that have been circulating for years. In his first message since December 2015, Baghdadi also called on Islamic State fighters to invade Turkey. Baghdadi's whereabouts remain unknown, with some believing that he may be inside Mosul alongside IS fighters.
بالله واغزوها واجعلوا أمنها فزعا ورخاءها هلعا ثم أدرجوها في مناطق صراعكم الملتهبة ويا أجناد الخلافة في أرض الشام ها قد جاءكم الجندي التركي الكافر.
Meanwhile, Iraqi coalition forces continued their march in Mosul for several fronts, liberating several villages in the process. Hundreds of civilians fled from the recaptured village of Kokjali, fearing an Islamic State backlash.
ياخذوا مثلا مسوي شيء واذا ما مسوي شيء هم ياخذوه ما تعرف وين راح وين يجي ما ابدا ما تعرف ايش ما تقدر تخبر على اهلك ما تقدر تسولف. انا هذا من صار لي سنتين ونص صار هنا وبيتنا هنا جو.
The fall of Mosul will mark the Islamic State's defeat in Iraq. The second largest city of Iraq was captured by the terrorists in 2014, and it was from here that the group's leader Baghdadi declared a caliphate that also spans parts of Syria. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here are some more international news updates in Global Buzz. At least 20 people died and 50 others injured in Pakistan after two passenger trains collided near the Landhi railway station in Karachi this morning. 3 bogies of the train were completely destroyed due to the collision. The incident took place when both the trains collided due to a wrong signal. According to reports, several people are still trapped under the wreckage. A US naval base in western Japan was briefly locked down today after reports of gunshots, but operations were soon back to normal with no evidence of an active shooter and no casualties. Deputy Public Affairs Officer for the US Naval Forces said that gunshots were reported from a building on the base at Sasebo, and the base was put on lockdown as a precaution as the building was being checked by security personnel. A former aide to South Korea's President Park Geun-hye has been detained by prosecutors. An Jong-byom is the second aide to be detained in a scandal which is threatening the president's position. An and Park's longtime friend and mentor, Choi Soon-sil, are expected and in fact suspected of using their presidential connections to persuade corporations to donate funds to foundations they were involved with. Earlier on Monday, Choi Soon-sil was detained and still being held. In cricket now, the Supreme Court appointed Lodha Panel Committee today instructed the BCCI to furnish the reports by accounting firm Deloitte on 4 state units as well as the undertakings submitted by the state affiliates. The report has pointed out mismanagement of funds and blatant governance by a handful of full member associations. The 4 states that are under scanner are Odisha, Assam, Jammu and Kashmir and Hyderabad. The panel has set the 8th of November as the deadline to submit the report. It also told the Indian Cricket Board that the proposed MOU between England and Wales Cricket Board and BCCI was not a part of the mandate and no directions can be issued on payments unless details are furnished. BCCI had sought direction from the committee about making the arrangements and payments for the visiting team during that bilateral series. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thanks for joining us.